This is real? I thought it was a joke. I legit thought some troll on Twitter photoshopped this just to mess with me. But no, I give you the official CW publicity photo of Mary as Poison Ivy. They actually released this to the public. They were proud of this. They wanted people to see this. Oh my god. And frankly, the outfit looking like something you'd find in the bargain bin at the Halloween store in November doesn't surprise me. But I would like to call attention to this little gem. I don't know what baffles me more, her ignorance or the obliviousness of this entire godforsaken production. 1. You are not the next actress behind Uma Thurman to play Poison Ivy, certainly not in live action. There have been several actresses who played that role after Thurman and long before you, and 30 seconds on Google would have told you that, since you're apparently unaware of a little show called Gotham. I wasn't a fan of it, but a lot of other people were. 2, you're not playing Poison Ivy. Pamela Isley is Poison Ivy, and that's a different character. You're playing a Poison Ivy pretender that was contrived into existence thanks to the magic of terrible writing. And 3, there have been a number of hints about this already, but I'm still finding it hard to believe even now, so I have to ask. Do the people who make this show genuinely not understand that Batman and Robin was bad? Is the movie that nearly killed the Batman film franchise something they aspired to be like? Because if you're holding up Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy as some kind of bastion of comic greatness, then that explains a lot, actually. Okay, one more. Just one more. And then this farce is over until January. Let's go. The episode begins in a parking lot. And you know what happens in parking lots on this show, don't you? It's not technically criminals waiting to attack Ryan and Marcus, but it's still Marcus being led into a trap, so I'm counting it. Ryan set up Marcus to meet her there to discuss their secret merger, but really he's there so Jada's people can capture him and take him to be put on ice. And I guess it's a tit-for-tat kind of thing, because only now that Ryan's helped Jada with her problem does she want to hear about that pesky business of Mary turning into a psychopath. Cut to Sophie waking up after a night of HLA, only to find out that Montoya ditched her. I'd say you didn't deserve that, Sophie, but you did decide to get laid instead of doing the one thing you were there for, which was making sure Alice didn't do anything crazy, so you absolutely deserve it. Dumbass. She gets a text from Luke, then rushes to Bruce's office to find out about Mary being not Poison Ivy now, and Luke explains that she's Poison Ivy by day and Mary by night, which is something he couldn't possibly know. He was unconscious when they talked about sunlight being her trigger, so he's just guessing at that. And he's not even taking the tons of other potential factors into account. For example, what if it's cloudy and there's no fucking sun? Does she still turn into Poison Ivy then? You don't know. But since the writers made last week's episode for 5-year-olds, I guess they thought the show had gotten way too sophisticated all of a sudden, so they needed to really dumb things down, and now here we are, with Mary being herself at night and evil by day, so she's evil all the time, basically. But Ryan says they'll have a cure soon because she got a sample of Mary's infected blood, which Ryan just pulled out of her ass like magic because that's the only way the story could happen, and gave it to Jada so the scientists at Jetorian Industries could work up an antidote. So Ryan trusts the scientists of a rival company run by a CEO who was just recently trying to run Wayne Enterprises out of business over the ones who work for the company Ryan is the CEO of? Gosh, I can't imagine why the board of directors would want her to resign. If only there was some reason. Cut to a Jetorian lab where Marcus is lying on a bed unconscious. Some doctor says they need to flush all the intoxicants out of his body before they can freeze him. Beats me why, but if they freeze him now, then the rest of the episode can't be a thing. And they don't want to rush it because this business of putting people in suspended animation is uncharted territory. Really? So that episode about Nora Freeze a few weeks ago never happened? Well, considering all the charting had been done by a man, I'm not surprised you're forgetting all about that. I'm sure you're happy to use all of Mr. Freeze's research, but giving him credit for it? Nah, that noise. Also, the doctor says they're synthesizing Mary's antidote. Already? They couldn't have had the blood sample for more than an hour! That is not how science works! Cut to the Batcave, where Ryan is just now telling Sophie and Luke about Marcus, which she couldn't do before because she didn't want to risk putting others in jeopardy. Yeah, God forbid your friends actually be aware that a guy they'd been interacting with for several episodes had been a murderous sociopath. I mean, if you'd told them, they might have taken steps to protect themselves or something. I'm sure they're glad they avoided that. Also, Ryan, Sophie was there in the room watching when Marcus hacked Professor Pig to pieces. I'm pretty sure the cat was already out of the bag. Because he hasn't completely taken leave of his senses yet, in this scene anyway, Luke asks Ryan if she really trusts Jada to come through for them with a cure, and Ryan says they don't have a choice. No choice, huh? And trusting the scientists at Wayne Tech Labs to find a cure for Mary was not an option. Why exactly? Anyway, Jada's doctors said the infection in Mary's blood is doubling every 12 hours, so the clock is ticking. Although, minus the superpowers, the difference between normal Mary and evil Mary has been pretty negligible from what I've seen, so feel free to take your time. Luke hasn't been able to find Mary yet, but he did find Alice thanks to the nanobots in her blood, and she's hauling ass out of the city, which Sophie has no clue about because she didn't even go home last night. You had one job, Sophie. One job. You know, I'm starting to realize why you've been unemployed since you quit the Crows. Because no one else in this town is stupid enough to hire your incompetent ass. Cut to Alice and Mary in a motorhome, them having ditched the car Alice stole in between episodes because the writers just wanted to do this now. It's nighttime, so Mary wakes up as herself, and she's shocked to learn about all the horrible things she did during the day while she was evil. Not sure why, since a lot of it was literally stuff she does on a normal day, but whatever. Alice tries to convince Mary that her friends are terrible by saying they're gonna put her in Arkham if they catch her, but Mary protests that they'd never do such a heinous thing. Why do characters keep making the argument that Ryan and Luke would never put a criminally insane person in an asylum for the criminally insane like this somehow proves that they're good people? Because if the writers really need someone to explain to them why it doesn't prove that, then they've got bigger problems than me. Alice points out that Mary just tried to kill her friends. No, she didn't. She had them at her mercy and let them go. Twice. And also Montoya knows about her now, so Mary's kind of until she learns how to control her plant powers. And Alice is happy to play bodyguard in the meantime because she needs Mary to perform a blood transfusion to get all those pesky nanobots out of her. And Mary doesn't exactly trust Alice, but her friends might be trying to lock Mary up because she's mentally unstable and a danger to herself and others, and we certainly can't have that. Meanwhile, I'm thinking about how last week the plant powers were supposed to be heightening Mary's sense of justice. That stopped being a thing pretty damn fast, didn't it? Cut to the Batmobile, where Ryan and Sophie are closing in on Alice when the homing signal starts glitching out and moving in multiple directions at once. So Ryan stops the car in front of them, only to find out that Alice is not there and just wrote them a message in her own blood on the trunk, and I guess she did this with a bunch of other cars too, so the nanobots are all over the place now. A problem that could have been easily avoided if Sophie wasn't the dumbest asshole walking God's green earth who thought getting her rocks off was more important than keeping tabs on the psychotic mass murderer. So Mary picked up supplies from someplace, but her and Alice still need blood. So they go to a place that's guaranteed to have a supply of the cleanest, purest, most uncontaminated plasma possible. A bar. God help me. We're only on episode 7. So when flirting with some guy to get his blood doesn't work, and the bartender starts hassling them thinking they're vampires or something, Mary figures out how to use her plant pheromones to mind control the bartender into backing off and giving them free shots. So learning how to control her powers took all of 5 minutes, and she mastered them on her first try because storytelling can go f*** itself. And Mary didn't even have to use the poison kiss to control this female bartender either. I'm actually very surprised the writers passed on low-hanging fruit like that. So the evilness is starting to assert itself more now. And Mary is like, I just stole from a small business, and I don't even feel bad about it. To say nothing of the part where she's trying to steal someone's blood, which is so meaningless to her, it doesn't even get a mention. Luke's only idea is to just wait for the blood to dry enough for the nanobots to shut down so they can track Alice again, but they may not have that kind of time because the mayor has authorized extreme measures, which Sophie found out from Montoya last night when she was coming up for air or something. And Ryan is annoyed to learn that the girl she's been making me eyes at for the last several episodes is scissoring the woman who's been blackmailing her, but to Ryan's credit, good God, I can't believe I just said that, she doesn't make it a big thing or even get upset because they've got more important shit to worry about right now. So yeah, believe it or not, and I sure as hell couldn't believe it, Ryan actually acted like an adult here. But don't get excited, it was clearly just a fluke. Back to Marcus, who's awake now. They decided to wake him up for the freezing process because it would be more painful that way, and also because he can't escape if he's unconscious. And instead of just using that gizmo which was specifically designed to freeze and unfreeze organic matter that Jada got from Evil White Guy a few episodes ago, the doctors are freezing Marcus the slower, stupider way by just turning the room's temperature down, and I guess just crossing their fingers that this doesn't kill him via frostbite. So what the hell was the point of that gizmo then? So Marcus is crying to his mom about how he loves her and how he's sorry for everything. They're both getting really emotional, and I kind of want to give the actors credit for at least trying to make the scene work. That's more effort than the writers put in, but it's so painfully obvious what's happening here. Marcus suckers Jada in, then he breaks his chains, which were brittle from the cold. Pretty weird how that never occurred to anybody. He takes out everyone in the room, threatens to kill Jada. Wow, I'm so glad we didn't just keep Marcus comatose the whole time. We sure dodged a bullet there, didn't we? Writers, my brain cells have got to be down to single digits by now. Can you please just wrap this up already? Ryan and Sophie come in later to find Jada still alive. Marcus didn't kill her because the rest of the story can't happen without her, I suppose. She says Marcus went looking for Ryan. Then we cut to Marcus waltzing into Bruce's office where he goads Luke about how Luke's dad would come over to their house for dinner sometimes. Then he picks up a fancy pen and murders a security guard with it. And easily the most shocking thing about this episode by a mile was the revelation that this building actually has security. Yeah, I couldn't believe it either. Luke, bless his heart, tries to fight Marcus, but his torn rotator cuff is still a thing, so that doesn't go well. Not that it would have if he'd been healthy. Then we go back to Jetorian, where Jada's taking Sophie to the fridge where the antidote is stored, but inside, all they find is the doctor's corpse. So Marcus killed her and made off with the antidote, and that's a problem because apparently the doctor kept no notes, no records of any kind, didn't save anything on a computer, so the recipe for the antidote died with her, and that one dose is all there is. Even though they apparently whipped up that antidote in about 10 fucking minutes, so I don't know how difficult making more from scratch could possibly be. Just get a new doctor in there. So Ryan goes to Bruce's office, finds Luke unconscious but alive, because he doesn't get to leave, remember. Marcus is waiting there, and somehow no one in the building has noticed that a murder was just committed in the office of the CEO, even though, once again, the door is wide f***ing open. Ryan says Marcus's fight is with her, and she tries to appeal to him as a human being, saying she knows how horrible it must have felt knowing his sister betrayed him, but Marcus just laughs, because the whole sibling bonding thing was all a ruse from the start. He finally doesn't have to pretend anymore, and if anyone still has doubts about the Black Joker thing, well, you really shouldn't, because they're not even trying to be subtle about this. And Marcus confirms it himself in the promo for the next episode, so there you go. So Marcus is getting really manic and zany all of a sudden, and he makes Ryan a deal. He'll give her the antidote, and all she has to do is sign resignation papers and name him the new CEO of Wayne Enterprises. Ryan's in a tight spot here, so she signs the form, he tosses her the antidote, walks out, and Ryan just lets him leave. I'm sorry, but did Ryan just forget that she's f***ing Batwoman? I understand doing what you have to do to secure the antidote, but you have it now. Just attack the motherfucker on his way out the door, knock him unconscious, and tear up the papers. Problem solved. What the hell's stopping you? Oh, right. The plot. Back in the Batmobile, Luke tells Ryan that all the tracking thingies have gone out except 4 of them, so Ryan just has to pick one and hope for the best. Meanwhile, Luke tells Sophie that if Mary were here, she'd say that things can't heal unless you let them, and she'd be right. Just like she was right about me in the suit. For God's sake, Luke, you stupid son of a bitch! Mary was dead f***ing wrong about you in the suit. You only failed with it because she sabotaged the f***ing suit. The only times you've ever failed with it was when the suit was malfunctioning. You were never the problem. It was never PTSD. There is zero, literally zero evidence that what Mary said was even worth paying attention to. The only reason this bullshit is coming out of Luke's mouth right now is because Mary's the woman, so she has to be right about everything, even though that's so asinine an aborted fetus could see she's f***ing wrong. This show. Luke feels guilty for pushing Mary away when she tried to help him, which is absolutely not what happened. What happened was he pushed Mary away because her help was a giant load of horse shit. But at least Sophie owns up to the fact that she blew off the job of keeping Alice on a tight leash just because she was DTS, which was absolutely Sophie's fault, so that's refreshing. And suddenly, Luke remembers that a sleep-deprived Mary absolutely cannot go without her coffee, even though that bullshit plot device was never a thing until this episode, so he finds out that she used her rewards card to get her caffeine fix, and the nearest tracker to that location is the bar. Over at the bar, Mary's been busy mind-controlling randos to let her check their blood type. Finally, she finds the one they need and drains several pints out of this poor bastard off-screen, and they only mention he's still alive offhandedly in a throwaway line a few scenes later. So Alice gets her transfusion, and Mary briefly considers that since Alice has done so much awful shit to her, she should just kill Alice and be done with it. The other option is just letting Alice leave, but then Mary would be alone, which is what she's afraid of. And Alice can relate to that, so as up as it sounds, they start to bond over this. Alice even says that she'll stick with Mary through this metamorphosis she's going through. And Mary still doesn't trust Alice, but hey, this is the only family Mary has left. Because Jacob, am I right? Marcus calls Jada, telling her to turn on the TV tomorrow at 9 a.m. You can just guess what that's about. And you have got to be kidding me with this. Marcus has just murdered at least 2 people. One in the Jetorian lab, the other in the Wayne CEO's office. You have eyewitnesses. You have fingerprints. And there's gotta be security camera footage of it too. How in the bluest of blue is he getting away with this? There's wanting to keep the whole thing quiet to keep people from getting hurt, and then there's people getting hurt because you're keeping the whole thing quiet. That's where we are now. Every second these chuckleheads let Marcus walk around free instead of just having him arrested, they're risking God knows how many innocent lives. So basically, it's Alice from season 1 all over again. These writers straight to hell. And then came something so shocking, I still can't even believe it happened. Alice and Mary start talking shit about Kate. I know, right? The paragon of amazingness. The character who I'm dead certain Caroline Dries was trying to live vicariously through since day 1 is suddenly getting dunked on by the 2 characters who worship her the most. This would feel like Christmas come early if it wasn't so horribly written. I'm glad you're here, Mary. Kate would never have done this for me. And at the first sign of sprouts, she would have locked you away in Arkham. She would have felt really bad about it, though. In her journal, LOL. And Kate never let me do anything. At least you thought I was capable of doing more than what everyone expects of me. I wish to God I could actually enjoy this. But even the characters finally acknowledging what a massive bitch Kate is has all the fun sucked out of it, because even though these 2 have more ammunition than the goddamn US Army to use on her, they still can't form a coherent thought to save their damn lives. Kate would have never done this for you, Alice? She let you go free over and over no matter how many people you murdered, but giving you a blood transfusion would have been over the line? And what makes you think she would have put Mary in Arkham? Kate put more work into keeping Alice out of Arkham than putting her in there, despite Alice racking up a body count Darkseid would have been humbled by, but she would have locked Mary in Arkham without thinking twice about it? That doesn't track at all. Look, I agree that Kate is a shit stain on the ass of the human race. I'm right with you on that one. But if you want reasons to dump more shit on top of her, you don't have to come up with fake ones. There are countless real reasons you can use. And what the hell are you even talking about, Mary? If people only expect you to be the team doctor, it's because that's what you forced yourself onto the team and demanded to be. And even this is a load of horse shit, because it was just a couple episodes ago that Ryan asked you to help Luke fix the fucking Batwing suit. You had no idea how to do that, no knowledge or expertise in this field whatsoever, but for some reason, Ryan thought you were capable of it. So what's the problem? Then a cop shows up because the motorhome is stolen after all, but Mary can't mind control him through the door, so instead of just opening the fucking window, Alice decides to run him over. He's still alive somehow, and Mary wants to take him to a hospital, but Alice convinces her to just leave him there to die, and they off. Mary is passionate about justice, you know, but the Batmobile stops them pretty quickly, and then, even though Ryan has the antidote, even though everyone acknowledges that Mary probably isn't in her right mind anymore, Ryan decides to pull a Barry Allen, and instead of simply trying to inject Mary with the antidote whether she wants it or not, she tries talking Mary into submission, and it's about as effective as it is when Barry does it. And when Ryan saying that her and Mary are best friends doesn't work, Mary mind controls Ryan to tell her what she'll do if Mary doesn't take the antidote. Probably keep you confined until we can figure something out. We can't let you hurt anyone. Alright, that's fair and reasonable. So of course, Mary hates it. So she controls some plant vines to restrain Ryan and destroy the antidote. You're not yourself, Ryan pleads with her. This isn't you talking. If you think I'm not myself, Mary retorts, then you don't know me at all. And that I actually agree with. Welcome to Mary Hamilton. She's horrible. I've been saying this for how long now? She's always been a miserable little shit. The only difference is now we get to call her a villain officially. Good God, it's like New Kate 2.0. So Mary and Alice escape, and Ryan tells Sophie later that Mary didn't want to be saved. Maybe that's because you left the choice up to her when her persona was being overtaken by that of a supervillain. What the hell did you think was gonna happen, you idiot? You should have injected her the second you saw her, but you gave her every chance she needed to push you away and escape again. And it's not because you were a bad friend, it's because you were fucking stupid. So this is on you, Ryan, just not the way you think. So everybody meets up at the illegal underground abortion clinic. Their security clearances have been revoked. They're shut out of Wayne Tower and the Batcave. How? As I recall, in season 1, there was an entrance to the Batcave in the parking lot. Couldn't they just go in through there? So they have the Batsuit, the Batmobile, and that's it. Ryan apologizes to Luke, saying she traded away the Wayne legacy for nothing, but Luke says she did it for Mary. That's not nothing. No, Luke, that's the definition of nothing. Have you not been paying attention for the last 3 seasons? So Marcus holds a press conference as the new Wayne CEO. He's getting more jokery as we speak. He even has purple hair now. It's a different color scheme, but you can see where they're going. He says the company is going to have a lot more fun now, and his mission is to put a smile on everyone's face. You know, just in case there was a single person who was still doubting this. And if this situation wasn't laughable enough already, the episode ends in a motel where Mary has made herself a poison ivy suit that is just... oh, just look at it. Look at this fucking thing. I'd call it cheap cosplay, but cheap cosplay is way better than this. This is some shit you wear when you're going to a Halloween party and you're too embarrassed to even enter the costume contest. And this aired on network TV. Jesus Christ. So Mary doesn't care where her and Alice go or what they do as long as it's fun. Then she sees Marcus on the news and says, he looks fun. Well, that makes one of you. This is what passes for a mid-season finale in the Arrowverse now. I'm not surprised, but I do feel a lot of secondhand embarrassment for the people involved. This isn't the writers not trying. This is we didn't even want to get out of bed. It was lazy, half-assed, idiotic, and so boring it was a struggle just to keep my damn eyes open. And I know I've made this comparison before, so I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but Batwoman really is the sister series to The Flash at this point, in that virtually every problem on the show could be easily solved by the characters just not being fucking stupid, but if they did that, then they wouldn't have a show. And it's so typical of these clowns that they made a big press release announcing that Bridget Regan was cast to play Poison Ivy this season, which fans liked because that is actually really good casting. And now we're at the halfway point of the season, hopefully. Regan hasn't even shown up yet, and Mary is getting all the attention as not Poison Ivy instead. So here's what I think is gonna happen. Because gay people can't be criminals, remember, I think that when Pamela Isley does show up, her villainy is going to be short-lived, she'll be quickly redeemed, cured of the Poison Ivy influence, so her and Montoya can ride off into the sunset, and then Mary will keep the plant powers, but not be evil anymore. At least not 24/7. That way, Mary can get in on the action and fight crime in the field with Ryan and Luke, because that's what always seems to happen on the Arrowverse shows. It starts with a solo hero, and then it becomes a team show. It happens every single fucking time. And if that's where this is going, brace yourselves. Because if you think Mary's intolerable now, just wait until we're supposed to like her again. Happy Thanksgiving, my asshole. Well, if that's not the cherry on the shit sundae, I don't know what is. What a miserable start to the holiday season. But if there's one thing I'm thankful for this year, it's that as of this moment, I'm officially done with this Batwoman shit show until January. So go eat some leftovers if you've got any, and peace out. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment down below, ding the bell icon, and follow my social media to always be notified when I upload new stuff. Links to that and to my live streaming channel are down below. Like the video. I don't know if you can still see the counter or not, but hitting that thumbs up is still important. Share, subscribe, make sure you're still subscribed, and I'll be back with more soon. So stay tuned for that, do all the YouTube things, and I'll see you next time.